President Trump is now begging his fellow Republicans to increase their number and pass another round of stimulus. The CDC says America will not be able to return to normal life until late 2021 following a mass wave of vaccines. All the while, removing Nancy Pelosi's speakership is being discussed among House Democrats. And to top it off, all of this is happening while Americans are still without stimulus, support, and true guidance moving forward. Welcome to your second stimulus check update, stimulus package update, and stimulus news report for Thursday, September 17th. Now, let's dive into some good news regarding stimulus. First, President Trump tweeted this yesterday morning. He said, "Democrats are heartless. They don't want to give stimulus payments to people who desperately need the money and whose fault it was not that the plague came in from China. Go for the much higher numbers, Republicans. It all comes back to the U.S. anyway, one way or another." That is true. That is very true. That is a great tweet. He's not only bashing Democrats, but now he's begging Republicans to increase their number because eventually the money will all flow back to the United States. So, soon after this, Nancy Pelosi tweeted this. "It's encouraging to see that the president is now calling on Republicans to go for the much higher numbers. After months of Senate GOP efforts to shortchange Americans' needs, we look forward to hearing from his negotiators that they will finally meet us halfway." That is really good news as well. When Nancy Pelosi is specifically addressing President Trump and not bashing him, that's good news. Nancy Pelosi and President Trump do not get along. So this is good news that they are kind of going side by side and going after the same thing, which is more stimulus to the American people and also stimulus checks. That is huge news. Now, even after the $1.5 through $2 trillion stimulus package from the Problem Solvers Caucus, Nancy Pelosi is still demanding more. She would still rather have 2.2, maybe 2.4, 2.5, even higher. She wants more, and I will explain that in just a minute. Now, many House Democrats are furious with Nancy Pelosi for not taking this deal because there is a good chance that this is the best deal they get. Who knows if after the election, a package like this will ever be offered again. That is what some are saying, and they are referring to if President Trump gets reelected, the Senate stays in, or the Senate is still controlled by Republicans and the House is still controlled by the Democrats, then they're in no better situation than they are right now. The only way they could pass more, the only way they could get more and holding off would be beneficial to Democrats is if Democrats remain in control of the House, they win over the Senate, and Joe Biden wins this upcoming election. But as of right now, there's no guarantees, there's no certainties, we just don't know. And it's because of the Democrats, the House Democrats being furious with Nancy Pelosi that there's something going on. There's a reason why the House Freedom Caucus is looking into removing Nancy Pelosi from her speakership. At this time, based on what Kevin McCarthy has said just yesterday, Kevin McCarthy will hold a meeting next Tuesday to discuss this idea, but he himself is not in favor of a removal at this time. It's not a good time to do this. So we will see what happens there. However, there are people trying to remove Nancy Pelosi as the Speaker of the House. Many people are looking into that Nancy Pelosi as the one that has single-handedly prevented Americans from getting the aid that they need. But as things stand, Nancy Pelosi holds all the power. She is the Speaker of the House. She is the number 2 in line to to the presidency. She holds all the power at this time. There's nothing we can do. We pretty much have to wait for Nancy Pelosi to feel that, yes, now's the time, this is the deal, let's accept it, let's vote on this, let's pass this. As of right now, as of making this video, it's about 4 o'clock in the morning on Thursday, September 17th. As of right now, we just don't know. So, based on multiple reports, Nancy Pelosi doesn't want to alter the entire problem solvers bill. She only wants to adjust a few numbers. So these are the numbers, these are the adjustments that would need to be made. Now, this is only a report. This is not a direct quote from Nancy Pelosi or Chuck Schumer, so we do not know for sure. However, this is a report. I want to bring it to you because based on the reports that I've been doing lately, a lot of the stuff is coming true. So again, I want to bring this to you. Heard it here first. So the adjustments would be Nancy Pelosi would like to start at $2 trillion. Not start at 1.5, start at $2 trillion. And they will negotiate from there. So she's willing to come down off her 2.2. Also, the $500 billion for state and local governments, she's fine with that. Based off of this report, she is okay with $500 billion for state and local governments. However, she does not want there to be a adjustment. She does not want that $130 billion adjustment if the economy does better, because many predict the economy will be better and this adjustment would not kick in. So it would actually be $370 billion, not $500. So Nancy Pelosi is adamant she wants $500 billion at the least. So no additional adjustment, no rider. Also, the $600 unemployment enhancement, or that $450 unemployment enhancement that is currently at, Nancy Pelosi doesn't want it at $450. She wants this at $600 for the full 8 weeks. And then after that, she doesn't want it to be $600 for 5 weeks. She wants it to be an additional $600 for an additional 8 weeks. And she wants this to be $600 for all. Okay? So in the first $600 for 8 weeks, it's $600 for all. And then the additional 8 weeks, that would be $600 for, well, everybody. However, she is okay with the 100% wage. So if you only make $450 per week on your normal wage, you'd only get $450 per week on unemployment, not $600. So this would estimate that it would be an additional $24 billion added on top of this. So it's a little bit of an increase, but it's not huge. Also, the $15 billion for the United States Postal Service, Nancy Pelosi wants $25 billion. We already knew it was coming, so let's just expect it. It will probably happen. On top of this, the report also says Nancy Pelosi wants Democratic fingerprints all over this bill. She does not want it coming directly from the Problem Solvers Caucus because it makes it look like Democrats are just accepting what somebody else put out there, even though it was proposed by half Democrat and half Republican. It's a bipartisan bill. But Nancy Pelosi wants something directly from the Democrats, directly out of the House, because this will actually improve the Democratic numbers, okay, across the board. Because if it comes from the Problem Solvers Caucus, many people believe, and probably Nancy Pelosi as well, she hasn't said this directly or publicly, but many people believe Nancy Pelosi only wants to pass something out of the House because anything outside of that will look like it's in favor of Republicans, and that could also lead to President Trump becoming reelected. And Nancy Pelosi definitely does not want that. Now, these same reports indicate that if Pelosi were to reach out to Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, one of the lead negotiators, with a number of $2 trillion for the next stimulus package, that the Trump administration could ultimately get there. They're not quite there yet. From the reports, they are fairly close. They could easily do 1.5. They would even go to 1.8. They are really close to a $2 trillion number. However, it's not $2 trillion exactly. Based on the Problem Solvers Caucus, the $2 trillion number is only if there's those adjustments kick in, which many people do not believe that the economy will be that bad come 2021. So again, we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Now, in President Trump's interview that he did yesterday, okay, he was specifically asked about the Problem Solvers Caucus bill, and his response was, yeah, something like that. I like the larger amount. Some of the Republicans disagree, but I think I can convince them. Because at this point, some Senate Republicans are dead set against a $1.5 trillion stimulus package or anything higher. But Trump could work his magic and possibly persuade them why this would work and how this would be beneficial moving forward. Again, we don't know if he will, but he possibly could. Nancy Pelosi also said she is willing to negotiate the $2.2 trillion stimulus package. Now, we don't know if this means the overall $2.2 trillion price tag or different pieces of legislation within the bill. Again, here's the problem. How can somebody negotiate a $2.2 trillion stimulus package when Nancy Pelosi herself has not specifically said what is in that package? That is very difficult, and I think that's what Mark Meadows and Steve Mnuchin are saying, that we can't negotiate because we have nothing to negotiate. She hasn't put anything in front of us. So we'll see what happens. However, with Nancy Pelosi staying in Congress until a bill is passed, this is really good news, because if something doesn't happen prior to the October 2nd deadline, before the House was supposed to go on recess, that means they could still be working on it, still negotiate, still be getting closer to actually passing a stimulus package, which means you might not only get one additional stimulus check, you might get two, which would really help out a lot of people. Again, all of this is really good news. I understand nothing has passed. There's no stimulus check in the mail today or tomorrow. I understand there's no unemployment enhancement or extension happening in the next few days. But just understand, in order to get a bill passed, in order to get President Trump to go and sign it, put his little John Hancock on that paper, in order for him to do that, there has to be a proposal, there has to be negotiations, there has to be an agreement, there has to be a vote. So there is a process, and this is, in my eyes, this is the beginning of the process. Even though we're 4 months, 5 months in, this is the beginning. Now understand, usually negotiations don't take this long. However, what else should we expect? This is Congress. Well, there you go. That is your second stimulus check update, stimulus package update, and stimulus news report for today, Thursday, September 17th. So make sure you go ahead and subscribe so that I can keep you updated and save you some time. And I'll see you guys on the next one.